I'm so glad you're here for another episode of Mechanism Monday, where every Monday we write out the electron-pushing arrow mechanisms for different organic reactions. In last week's video, I asked if you could solve the mechanism for this chemical transformation, so if you haven't had a chance, pause the video now and try it independently. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'll give you another mechanism to solve for next week's video. This is a pretty cool reaction in which we're using a sulfonium salt, a little bit of base, reacting it with an alpha-beta unsaturated carbonyl compound to end up generating a cyclopropyl group on this ring. Now, cyclopropyl groups are actually pretty difficult to produce, and that's because they're so reactive once they're formed. This three-membered ring is going to be incredibly strained, so finding new ways to make them are always top of mind for chemists. And this reaction begins by actually deprotonating our sulfonium salt to generate an ylide. So the first step, we can think of sodium hydride as really just a hydride source. So we can consider this to be H-. And it can actually come in and abstract one of the hydrogens located on one of those methyl groups, and the electrons contained in that carbon-hydrogen bond can just stay on carbon. And this ends up generating a very reactive intermediate that's not too dissimilar from ones that you've probably seen in the past. So I'll just draw in the rest of the groups as methyl instead of CH3, but those are equivalent. And here we have a carbon, which contains a lone pair of electrons, is going to be anionic, and then contains these other two hydrogen groups. And notice that the two adjacent atoms, sulfur and carbon, have opposite charges, and overall they add up to being a neutral compound. And this is what's known as an ylide. And you've probably seen these before if you've taken organic chemistry when you encountered Wittig reagents, because Wittig reagents, similar to this reagent, is actually an ylide as well, where the phosphorus would be positively charged and the carbon would be negatively charged. And these are just some of the ways to make carbon nucleophiles, which is pretty difficult to do. So what will happen next is this carbon will actually come and attack the beta position in our alpha-beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. And this will kick over these pi electrons and kick up these pi electrons to generate an enolate, which is pretty common in organic chemistry too. So at this point, what we've done is we've generated a brand new carbon-to-carbon bond. This oxygen is going to be negatively charged since it has 3 lone pairs of electrons on it. Here we'll have a brand new alkene where we shifted over those pi electrons, and this will be the location of our CH2 group. And then remember, we still have this positively charged sulfur located here with 2 methyl groups coming off of it. And from here, we're actually just one step away from the final product. Remember, enolates are indicative of using alpha carbons as nucleophiles, because what can happen is that the electrons located on the oxygen can come back down to reform our carbonyl carbon-to-oxygen double bond, which is the preferred way because carbon-to-oxygen double bonds are more stable and stronger than carbon-to-carbon double bonds. That means that in our enolate, this alkene pi electron system can be used as a nucleophile. So it will come and attack this carbon position, kicking off dimethyl sulfide and generating our final product. So it's a combination of some chemistry that probably you could figure out yourself. First, generating an ylide by deprotonating this sulfonium salt using a strong base like sodium hydride, and then subsequently using the carbon nucleophile to attack at the 4 position in a 1,4 conjugate addition to this alpha-beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. Next, using the enolate to allow the alpha carbon position to act as a nucleophile to generate a 3-membered ring and kick off a leaving group simultaneously, ends up giving that cyclopropyl group. If you enjoyed this week's mechanism, give it a thumbs up down below. And for next week, I'd love to see if you could figure out the electron-pushing arrow mechanism for this organic reaction. Drop your thoughts as a comment down below, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out. I'll see you next week.